Black Americans are on track to spend more than $2 trillion by the year 2026. Currently, African Americans have a spending power of $1.4 trillion. That's more money than Spain, Mexico, the Netherlands, Turkey, or Switzerland all generate annually. And with recent boycotts of big box stores like Walmart, Lowe's, and Target, retailers are feeling the impact. In honor of Black History Month, we are exploring the power of Black spending in America, from slavery all the way till today, baby. So let's start in the beginning. During slavery, the export of cotton led the United States to having one of the most powerful economies of the world, with the South being one of its most prosperous regions. Despite fueling insane economic growth, African Americans had little, if any, true buying power. As slavery was slowly abolished, first in the 1820s in the North and later in 1865 nationwide, African Americans slowly started to enter the economic arena, marking the start of Reconstruction. From 1865 to 1877, Reconstruction marked the beginning of Black political and socio-economic empowerment. Reconstruction governments established the South's first state-funded public schools, strengthened the bargaining powers of plantation laborers, made taxation more equitable, and outlawed racial discrimination in public transportation and accommodations. It was during the 12-year period of Reconstruction that the idea of Black economic independence flourished for the first time, particularly in the arena of land ownership. It was then that newly freed Black slaves were promised 40 acres of land and a mule in the Florida coast, Georgia, and South Carolina. During this time, Black banks were created, leading to an increase in mortgages and business loans catering to the Black community, backed by the federal government. Now, I gotta tell y'all, some of them were totally whack and they took a lot of people's money, but the idea was started. Because of this legislation, the ratio of white to Black per capita wealth fell for the fastest time in human history, dropping from almost 60 to 1 in 1860 to less than 30 to 1 by 1870, falling to 11 to 1 by 1900. But racists are going to racist, and it was at the height of these reforms that racially oppressive laws, Black codes, and regimes to limit Black economic progress were created, collectively known as Jim Crow. Following Reconstruction, instituted racial segregation, Black voter disenfranchisement, and restrictions on Black Americans' economic and geographic mobility were the cornerstone of Jim Crow. Jim Crow institutions sharply reduced Black economic progress in the long run, and the expansion of Black wealth lagged behind white Americans for nearly 100 years after Reconstruction. Throughout the 1900s, African American families were prohibited from buying homes in the suburbs. From the 1940s, the 1950s, and even into the 1960s, Black communities saw little, if any, of the equity appreciation that their white counterparts saw. So let's put that in context, because I know I just said a lot. Many of the homes purchased in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s from government subsidy programs that were experienced by whites that weren't available to Black communities now sell for between $300,000 to $600,000 on average today. That's 6 to 8 times the median national income, thereby furthering the wealth gap. These racial disparities continued well into the 1960s until the Civil Rights era kicked in full gear. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 hastened the end of Jim Crow, and because of the countless efforts by Black activists and civil rights legislation, the wealth gap in America started to decline for the first time since Reconstruction. The Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 and President Johnson's War on Poverty complemented these civil rights milestones, addressing the economic inequalities that had so long accompanied racial discrimination and exclusion by many people. Later legislation would go on to protect other groups, such as older Americans, people with disabilities, pregnant women. The wealth gap continued to decline, that is, until the 1980s. Starting in the 1980s, the racial wealth gap expanded again, and income disparity increased. Specifically, Black income growth started to slow relative to white income growth, mainly stemming from differences in asset ownership. Homes and home equity make up the majority of Black asset ownership. While homes make up a significant portion of white families' asset mix, white families also own much more stock and financial assets than Black families. Most recently, during the COVID-19 period, wealth concentration in the United States reached its highest peak since World War II. with the top 0.01% of households are estimated to own 36% of private wealth. And it doesn't look like things are going to get much better, because as President Trump and other government officials continue to rescind laws that were created during the civil rights era to protect Black folks, other minorities, pregnant people, women, disabled people, old people, as those laws are struck down, the ability for those groups to attain ownership and attain wealth is significantly decreased, thereby increasing the wealth gap. Yikes on a bikes. What a ride. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and let me know. What do you think is crazy about this? What do you think makes sense? Did you learn something new? I hope you did. I had a really fun time making this video for y'all. I hope you have a very happy, insightful Black History Month. Hit that like button if you liked anything. If you're ready for a little LTR, ready to make this commitment, okay? Subscribe. I'm really excited to bring y'all something new next week, and I cannot wait. New videos drop every Wednesday, long form videos. In the meantime, I also drop like stand-up and comedy sketches and stuff because I am a comedian, but it's Black History Month and I wanted to share my knowledge. Also, I have a journalism degree, so why not use it? Gang, gang. And don't judge me for posting this halfway through February because it's called CP time. Love y'all. Bye. Mwah.
If you want more comedy videos, check out this video right here. If you want to watch what our AI overlords think is a better selection for you based off my content, select this. Thanks, Skynet.